All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really cool concept in business, something called the degree of operating leverage. But let's start with a question, a puzzle, really. You've probably seen this happen. A company's sales dip just a little bit, maybe 5%, and suddenly their profits totally fall off a cliff. Or, on the flip side, sales go up just a tiny bit and profits just explode. They go through the roof. It feels like it shouldn't work that way, right? It seems to defy basic math. Well, this whole thing, let's call it the profit multiplier mystery, actually has a surprisingly straightforward answer. And that's secret. The force behind these wild swings in profit is operating leverage. You can think of it as a hidden engine inside a company's finances, or sometimes a hidden anchor. So let's decode what operating leverage really is and figure out how this whole thing works. So the formal definition is degree of operating leverage, or DOL, but here's what it really is. It's a measure of sensitivity. It basically tells you how much a company's profit is going to jump or fall for every 1% change in sales. Think of it like a volume knob for profit. The higher the DOL, the more sensitive, the more volatile those profits are. Now, to really get this, you have to understand the two basic kinds of costs a company has. First, you've got your fixed costs. These are the bills that have to be paid no matter what. We're talking rent, we're talking salaries for your office staff, things that don't change whether you sell one product or a million of them. Then you have your variable costs. These are things like raw materials. They go up and down right alongside your production. The more you make, the more you spend. And the secret to operating leverage? It's all about the mix between these two. And you know what? The math here is actually pretty easy. You just look at the percentage change in the company's operating income, and you divide it by the percentage change in its sales. That's it. The number you get is the leverage multiplier. And this brings us to the real heart of the matter, why a company's choice to be high leverage or low leverage tells you so much about its strategy and how much risk it's willing to take. So here's the trade-off, and this is absolutely key. A company with high operating leverage is just loaded up with fixed costs. Now, that creates a ton of risk because those bills have to get paid, period. But it also creates the potential for these huge outsized profits. On the other hand, a low-leverage company, it's mostly variable costs. It's a much safer, more stable way to run a business, but its profits are just going to grow more slowly and predictably right along with sales. You know, there's a saying that just captures this perfectly. High leverage is a double-edged sword. When sales are booming, it is your absolute best friend, amplifying every single dollar of new revenue into even more profit. But when sales start to slide, it becomes your worst enemy because it amplifies those losses just as brutally. Okay, check this out. This chart makes it so clear. Both companies here get a 10% boost in sales, but look at the difference in profit. The high leverage company sees its profit jump by a massive 20%. Its DOL is 2. The low leverage company, well, it gets a respectable 11% bump, but it's nothing compared to the other one. This just brilliantly illustrates the multiplying power we're talking about. Okay, so that's the theory, but where do we actually see this playing out in the real world? Well, think about a software company. They spend a ton of money upfront to develop the software. That's a huge fixed cost. But the cost to sell one more copy? It's basically zero. That's classic high leverage. Airlines are the same way. The plane, the crew, that's a fixed cost, whether the flight is full or half empty. Now, compare that to a restaurant. Their biggest costs are food and paying their staff by the hour. Costs that go up and down directly with how many customers walk in the door. That's low leverage. In this data, it just drives the point home. You can see these clear patterns across different industries. You've got industries like mining and utilities with these massive infrastructure costs, creating high operating leverage. And when you add in a lot of debt, what we call total leverage, they get really, really risky. Then you look down at the bottom, you see retail. Low leverage across the board, which makes it a much more stable, if maybe less explosive kind of business. And this is the real danger. During an economic boom, everyone loves the high leverage companies. They're the stars of the stock market. But when a recession hits, those fixed costs, the rent, the big salaries, they don't go anywhere. They become a giant anchor that can sink a company fast. And if you need proof, just look at this number. This is a stunning piece of data. During the 2020 crisis, they found the strong negative correlation, negative 0.60, between a company's leverage and its stock performance. Let me put that in plain English. The more leveraged a company was, the harder its stock got hammered. It is the clearest possible evidence of the real-world risk we're talking about. Now, before you run off and start analyzing every company based on this, it's really important to know this tool has its limits. It's powerful for sure, but it's not perfect. First off, this whole analysis kind of assumes a company keeps selling the same mix of products, and that's not always true. It's also super sensitive to sales forecasts, so if your guess about future sales is wrong, your whole leverage calculation will be wrong too. And crucially, it's an internal-looking metric. It doesn't tell you anything about a new competitor suddenly showing up or a big shift in what customers want. It's really just a snapshot, not a crystal ball. So, I want to leave you with this image. The next time you look at a company, ask yourself, is this thing a speedboat or is it an oil tanker? A low-leverage company is like a speedboat. It's agile, it can turn on a dime, it can handle choppy water. A high-leverage company, though, that's an oil tanker. It has incredible momentum, it can carry enormous profits when the seas are calm and the direction is clear, but there's no way it can stop or turn quickly to avoid a crisis. And understanding its operating leverage, that's the key to knowing which one you're looking at.